The greatest power you possess is your ability to choose. Join Lowe's Moore as he reveals how you can begin to maximize that power by exploring yourself on the deepest levels and committing to making lasting and positive changes. Get ready to achieve breakthroughs that will lead to accelerated growth and transformation, because you are now tuned in to The Blueprint.
Why the actions contradict the lamb. I'm fellowshipping when I'm with the fam. That's more relations, that's foreign and foreign.
Good evening and welcome back to the Blueprint Podcast. I'm your host, Lowe's Moore, and I'm excited to be with you another week. Let me say this up front. Happy New Year. Right? We're going to be saying that to the end of January, because it is it's a new year, right? And I'm excited to be in a new year. And we're working extremely hard to get the new year off to a right start, right? With so many people at the end of December as they transition from 24 to 25, I'm sure there was a lot of people who made a lot of resolutions as they making this transition. And, there's going to be a lot of people who are doing some form of fasting, Daniel fast, or just fasting period as they, making an adjustment to go into a new year. They want to get it off right. They want to reevaluate themselves. I think Reverend Richardson said today, was it retrospect? He was talking about retrospect, and, he was talking earlier today, at Grace Baptist Church. He was talking about taking a look at ourselves before we start looking around at other things and other people. We need to check ourselves. I mean, we need to think about what it is what our value systems are, what our purpose is. Those are things that we do in the new year, right? And so we have chosen to start the Blueprint Podcast off last week, right? We started off with Janan Wong and with health, right? We were talking about healthy lifestyles. We were talking about vegan lifestyles. We were just talking about overall health as we start into 2025, right? Because you can't really enjoy, as you go into the new year, you can't really enjoy a new year. Number one, there's some aspects that you need to look at in terms of what we look at in a new year as we transition from one year to another. There's some things that we want to look at. Number one, we want to be healthy. So last week we started off with talking about, creating healthy lifestyles. And many of you are fasting, Daniel fast, right? And it's taking away a whole lot of things, taking away sugar. For some of us, taking away salt is processed foods, fast foods, sugary drinks, right? So we're getting off to a good start, right? It's not how you start though, it's how you finish, right? So that's why last week we were talking about healthy lifestyles, right? Our fast gets us off to a good start, right? Then we need to sustain that by continuing to live a healthy lifestyle, eat the right things, get proper exercise, get enough sleep, so forth and so on, so we can de-stress as we go into into 2025, right? So we wanted to start it off right. And then the other thing is we wanted to start off by tonight we want to talk about something that's important besides just the health aspect of it. Is we want to talk about, as we go into 2025, right? We have an entire year to talk about finances, resource development, debt cancellation, debt free, right? And so, tonight's show is going to be focused on holistic finances, right? Or holistic health finances. As we go in, we're going to be talking about resources and stuff like that, talking about our finances, talking about how to build wealth, what is wealth, how to build wealth, so forth and so on. And then, the other side of it is, as we talk about our physical, right, as we were talking about last week, our physical health. Yes, we also would be talking about the impact of the lack of physical health on our mental side, right? And how important it is to have wellness, right? How to, in 2025 have less stress, right? And the other thing is we were talking about last week, how to be more active. You can go to work and you can look at your watch. I got my iWatch on, and you can look at your watch as you go to work, and you can say, man, I got 10,000 steps in, right? But there's a difference between taking time and investing in yourself to de-stress, to go do something for yourself, to invest in yourself, to walk, to exercise, to shoot a basketball, whatever it is, to get yourself away from a lot of, trying to get to a stress-free life, right? And that's important too to your mental health, as well. So, we want to go into the new year talking about, healthy habits, right? Physically, mentally, financially, right? And then I'm hoping next week, when we come on, we're going to talk about the importance and power of spiritual health, right? We're talking about holistic health, right? We're not just talking about, some people just talking about getting wealthy, right? But you can get wealthy, right? But if your health ain't good or your mindset ain't good, right, then, you can have all the money in the world, but you can't take it with you. Right, I always hear Denzel say, you never seen a U-Haul behind a hearse, right? You can take that money with you, right? So it's important to have good mental health, physical health, financial health, spiritual health, right? All those things are important as we go into the and continue to move forward in 2025, right? So that's awesome. Right, as two good shows right off the bat: mental health, physical health, and financial health. And so I'm excited to be with you guys tonight. If you have any questions in regards to when my guest comes on this evening, when I introduce him, you got questions, make sure you pop it on the screen, and we'll try to answer all your questions. Tonight. And so I want to start out with, it's interesting. My mother's birthday. So I want to start off with my mom. We just came from, I guess we call it brunch, lunch. We took her out. She was saying, I said, Ma, your birthday is coming up. And she says, I don't want no surprises. No surprises. I don't want to go nowhere. I don't want to do anything, so forth and so on. Don't give me no surprises. I always say when people say stuff like that, they really saying inside, they're saying inside, I want you to do something for me. Hey, surprise me. If you didn't, you say, look, you would say, hey, so I want you to give me a surprise birthday party. I want you to surprise me with something. And then people probably wouldn't do it. They probably like, nah, that ain't no surprise. I'm not gonna do it. But she didn't say that. She said, don't surprise me, which means, in other words, surprise me. Right? And Teresa and I were talking about mom, right? We were talking about mom. And we're saying like, yeah, she's living alone. We was talking about like, hey, having a day where she comes over for dinner or we go over there. We were just talking about this, let's because when you're older and you're in your house, right, and you're in your house alone and you all day looking at the TV, sometimes days can get all mixed up, man. You got to get out your house. Or you got to invite them out the house. And I've been saying, look, hey, you ought to come over to the house during the day or something like that. And she hadn't seen Gladiators yet. So I kept saying, you know, you need to come over to the house and we can watch Gladiators. So we did this week, this Thursday. And it was cold outside too. She said it's cold out there, but you know it was like Tuesday. I said Thursday I'm gonna come over and get you. We're gonna watch Gladiators and we're gonna have some lunch. You know, she said it's cold out there. I said yeah, but you got to get out the house. Think of it as when I get in that cold air, it's gonna be fresh air. Right, and so she ended up. I ended up getting her Thursday. Had a little pizza party. Right, we watched Gladiators, and then we went to the Mount Vernon High School girls game. Right, and it started out crazy, but then it ended up fantastic at the end. You know, Mount Vernon girls team pulled it out. You know, and she got a chance to get out the house. We didn't say anything else to her. You know, but in the background. In the back of the scenery, we were talking about like, hey, we're gonna go over there. It's her birthday. It's supposed to snow, right? It didn't snow. It snowed a little bit on Saturday, right? So we got up and we said, look, you know, she likes the UConn women. We're gonna go over there and watch the UConn women's game with her, right? We said nothing. The surprise was we're gonna all go to church with her. She doesn't know this, right? Because she doesn't want any surprises. So. You know, so we go over, bring her dinner on last night, and we watch the UConn game. We talk and laugh and so forth and so on. We all get up this morning, right? And she's in church sitting there, and we all show up. Surprise! You didn't want a surprise, but surprise anyway, you know. So she was excited. You know, they announced other people's birthday, but they also announced her birthday, announced her family, and then we took her out. Right, we took her out for brunch, right, and had a wonderful time. 85 years doesn't come every day, Amen. Right, and you know, it used to be like every 10 years. Oh yeah, when you become, you 30, okay, the next one the real big celebration is 40, right? Next celebration is 50. Now, when you hit 60, you're thinking like. We better start thinking about 5-year increments. We are 5-year increments, man. So I'm like 3 years away from 70, right? You know, 65, 70. You know, my mom's 85, right? She went 80, 85, right? So we got to get those in, right? We had a great time, right? And one of the things that Reverend Richardson mentioned today, he was talking about, and I guess he didn't know and I didn't know he was going to talk about this person, but he talked about President Jimmy Carter. He's my person of the week, right? I mean, a lot of people didn't like Jimmy Carter, right, as a president. Jimmy Carter was not a politician. I mean, he was a peanut farmer, right? He was in the Naval Academy, right, and he studied nuclear physics. Right, he was a smart guy, right? But he was more about community than anything. So imagine that. Imagine a president with a heart. Imagine a president who's a humanitarian, right? Who comes into office and he thinks not about one set of people, but he thinks about all people. Mm-hmm. Right, and they didn't like the way he dealt with things. Right, but you can see the seed that he sowed in his 4 years, right, when it came to climate change and all that stuff like that stuff he was putting in, right, back then, right, is impacting us today, right? But they say he didn't have a great presidency, right? And the thing I like about it, man, was that Jimmy Carter was the same person before he was still teaching Sunday school. Right. And he made it his point when he became president or senator or president. He was there on Sunday morning to teach Sunday school. Right. And it started on time. And then, you know, when it was over. Right. Most of the time when your presidency is over. Right. We don't hear any more about you or from you. Right. But not Jimmy Carter. He spoke his mind outside when he was no longer the president. Right, and he was a staunch humanitarian, right? And man, nobody helped to build more homes across this world than Jimmy Carter, right? And he's a true humanitarian, Right? He's a true humanitarian man, and he loved people. Right? He endorsed what was the governor, the mayor of Atlanta,
I don't know.
March with Dr. King.
Oh, Andrew Young?
Andrew Young. He endorsed Andrew Young. Right? They was great friends. Man, this guy was he was the real deal, man. When you were talking about being a Christian, he was the real deal. And he's my person of the week. I'm, Jimmy Carter is my person of the week. And Reverend Richardson was talking about him today. We didn't have no conversation with each other, but he was my person of the week, and he talked about Jimmy Carter. Right? You got to acknowledge great men and great women when they come. Right? So we salute my mom. Happy birthday. And I think we got a whole list of birthdays up there. I think, my Aunt Dolores, that's my mom's sister. I want to say happy birthday to her as well. Of course, she always calls us on our birthday and sing happy birthday to her. So I called her and I sang happy birthday to her as well. It was her birthday on January the 7th, right? And then, Sister Monica, I want to say happy birthday to you. Hers was January the 7th. Happy birthday. To all you guys, many, many more, right? And I think we got some more birthdays, right? And, hey, happy heavenly birthday, because, my, Uncle Sonny, Uncle Shorty, right? He's no longer with us, but him and my mom had this connection between January 10th and January the 11th. Right?
He would have been 85 also.
He would have been 85 also.
What?
Man.
He would have told you he was 39.
Yeah. He never, once he got to 39, he stopped counting. Right? How old are you, Uncle Sonny? 39.
39.
39. Yeah. And then Jolly. Hey, my nephew Jolly. Same day as my mom. They birthday buddies. Right? And, he's on his way back tomorrow from California. Out there celebrating, running away from the fire. I don't know about celebrating. He's just trying to stay out of.
Yeah, the hard part is he had tickets to go see the Lakers, and the Lakers. Listen, anybody out there, y'all listening to this kind of stuff, man. He flew out to California with his girlfriend and his sister so that he could take her. She's an avid Lakers fan, and he was surprising her to take her to the Lakers game. Spent all of this money, and then the fire came in. Now they're not going to reimburse him, so he's lost all of that money.
God will make it up, man. It'll get right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it'll definitely get right over there, and I'm sure it'll get turned around. Right, he get repaid for it, but before that, Treese, I want to say this, man. We need, you watch Facebook. Sometimes there's so many crazy things on Facebook, right? There's so many crazy things on Facebook, but when I seen a lot of celebrities and people, man, going in their closets, going in their pockets. Right, and really coming to the aid, right? We need to pray for California, right? We need to pray. People have lost, you work hard and you get your dream home, right? And you're living in your dream place, right? And all of a sudden, man, in one day, one swoop, it's gone, right? My heart really, truly goes out to those who lost their homes. Some people, there are a few people that lost their life, right? But, there are a lot of people that lost their home, all their valuables, all their history, legacy, pictures, keepsakes, right, man? Keep California in your prayers. Keep all them people in your prayers. And if there's anything you can do, right, and find something secure, whether you want to donate or you want to give, find in your heart to do something to be helpful, right? If nothing else, man, keep all those folks in your prayers.
Mm-hmm. And Sister Monica said to just let you know that Her mom's birthday is today too, Sister Priscilla Russell.
Sister Priscilla Russell.
Yes.
Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday.
Yeah, happy birthday to you.
Yeah,
definitely.
Listen, we got a good show today coming. So.
Oh yeah, definitely. And so let me jump right into my book of the week.
Do you want to go to the Ain't Too Proud?
Yeah, go back to the Ain't Too Proud. You know, hey, the weather was so crazy. My son was leaving South Carolina, going to Alabama. The weather was a little crazy in Alabama. That show got canceled, right? But tonight they are performing the Classic Center, right, in Athens, Georgia. Right, I don't know where they're going after that, but
you don't.
I don't.
How about this?
Oh, all right. They're gonna be in Orange, Texas. Right, they're gonna be in Orange, Texas, January 14th and 15th. Right, I mean, yeah, they. Hey, somebody got to get me a poster. I seen they were signing autograph posters of this picture at the theater. Man, I don't have no poster.
I know. And there he is, the fourth one from the left or the second one from the right. Lowe's Moore the third.
Yes, awesome.
It's so funny because when the church went to the show, he said, "Listen, don't y'all yell Lowsy in the stands." So he's Lowe's now. Lowe's. Yeah.
Lowe's
Now he put
Moore.
Lowe's the third. He just Lowe's. So then when JB came to see the show in Chicago, and he said, "My nephew Lowsy," so they went to the back and they said, "Lowsy." He's like, "I'm 32 years old. Stop calling me Lowsy."
Lowsy. Right.
All right. So you're gonna go to your book.
Yeah, I'm going to go to my book of the week.
Okay.
Yeah, it's called Simple Money Talk, a conversation with my 8-year-old daughter, Steven Stacks, and with Nia Stacks.
Without an S. Stack.
Stack. Like Stackhouse.
There you go.
Yeah. So that's my book of the week. I didn't get this one yet, but we're going to be talking about this one tonight.
Yes.
With my guests.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely we're going to be talking about that book. And then the word words of the week. The word of the week is debt. Right? No, nobody wants to be
debt free.
Free. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, a debt could cost you a whole lot of stress, a whole lot of anxiety.
Yes, Lord.
Right? And you know what? Here's the thing about it, right? Most of the time we just stew in debt. Right? We don't ask how we get out of debt. We just stew in it. Like what can I put into play that can cause for me to go from debt to debt free? Right? To be in debt, right, man, I'm indebted to you. I mean, I done borrow so much money from you that, right, you're not gonna lend me no more money because I'm in debt. I'm indebted to you, right? Nobody wants to be in debt, right? That's even in a relationship, nobody wants to be in debt, right? And we want to be debt free. Make that a goal in 2025. Right, to come up with a plan to be debt free.
But it's funny. Half of the issues with debt is on us. We create debt. We create that ourselves. So the first place to start, like Pastor said today, I had to have a talk with myself.
Yeah.
He said I had to have a.
He said Nehemiah said I had to
have a talk with myself.
Yeah, that's the first thing.
I had to consult myself.
That's right. Yep. And then he said, what? Number 2 was, what's your fears? What's your values? And what's your fears? Right. I like that. That was good. So we want to be debt free. We want to be conscious of it. We want to make the right goals. We want to have the right mindset. Right. But we don't want to get into the place of doing nothing. Right? You say, "Oh man, there's nothing I can do about this." There's always something you can do. There's always somebody who could help you get out of that, out of your situation.
Look who said holler. Who could holler at you? The Miracle Man.
Pastor Paul.
That's the miracle man, y'all. That's the miracle man.
Man, I gotta talk to you, man. I might have to get you on here next week for the spiritual aspect of this new year.
Ooh.
Yeah, we going into new year. Every year, Pastor Paul is with me in the beginning of the new year. We talking about spiritual things. You know, we talk about heavenly things. Set your, what did it say? Set your affections
Things above.
on things above, right? That I think that's gonna be the topic. Heavenly things and set your affection on things above. I like that. How many of you guys like that? Okay, that's what we're gonna do. And here's an affirmation. You got an affirmation. You know, the Pierce Hopper affirmation moment, right, by Stephen Stack. Right, character is displayed in the big things, but it is made in the little things.
Ooh, that's deep. Say that again.
Character is displayed in the big things, but it is made in the little things.
That's good.
Yes, the little things that lead to the big things, right? And then here's my music.
He said, my recovery is ahead of schedule. That's because it was their schedule, but you on Jesus' schedule. And when you on Jesus' schedule, that means you can get healed right away.
That's right. It's called acceleration, right? That's when you live in eternity. There's a difference between living in time and living in eternity, right? Time says it's gonna take this long, right? Eternity says it can happen now. I don't know if that's good or not. Right? Difference between information, right? We live in a world of information, but God intended us to live in a place, in a mindset of revelation. When God reveals something to you, it accelerates stuff. Ooh, I like that. Yeah. And so here's my my music and movie of the week. Of course, the Wicked, the movie Wicked came out. And I like the soundtrack. The music was good, right? Tells a story. I like how they tell the story, right? And I was excited about that. My youngest daughter Sherelle, she done watched the movie like 4 or 5 times now, right? And now she even talking about going to see the play. I gotta go see the play, right? But the soundtrack was good. The singing was good. It was amazing. And then I missed it. I didn't get to see it in the movie, man. Now they got all kind of crazy times, you know, but the fire inside the true story of a young girl who became an Olympic champion, right? The movie came out just after Christmas, and I haven't seen it yet, which is like, I don't know why, but that's it, you know. So, yeah, whew.
Yeah,
That's
it's
good.
good stuff. It's good stuff.
Good stuff.
Yeah, good stuff. Good stuff.
And I'm waiting. Well, let me show you a couple things. I want to show you a couple things for my guests before I introduce my guest tonight. I want to show you a few testimonials.
Okay.
Right. Some people speaking highly of my guest this evening in regards to how he assisted them, how he coached them, how he mentored them in their financial needs. So check out the first one.
Hi, my name is Bianca Wright, and I recommend Stephen Stack for financial coaching. I started working with Stephen when I lived paycheck to paycheck with very little money. So I questioned, is a financial coach even for me? The answer was yes. Stephen helped me to develop a plan for my money, keeping the discipline to go after my goals, which was attacking debt, creating an emergency fund, and starting to investing. Almost 5 years later, I have an emergency fund, still gonna build more in it. My consumer debt is almost paid off with just my mortgage, which I just bought a house a couple months ago, and I have a few $1,000s in investing. It's a complete shift from what I ever thought that I could be at this age as a single mother. So I am thankful for my friend, my coach, Stephen Stack. Highly recommend it. If you're questioning if you need a financial coach, I'm telling you, you do. Thanks, Stephen.
Life really dictates the destination you will arrive at. I was introduced to Stacks by a group of friends who chose him as their financial advisor, and they encouraged me to participate on this journey with them. I was hesitant at first because I wasn't sure about the process, but it changed the moment I met Stacks. I remember logging on to my first meeting and feeling so much shame because of the debt that I had acquired over the years. The way that he motivated and encouraged me during that first meeting really let me know that, okay, I think I made the right choice. It honestly, for me, like when I knew was the moment he made this statement that you can't always give your seeds away, meaning your financial resources away, because if you do, you'll have nothing to harvest. That truly was like a mind-blowing moment that I was determined to change my mindset and join this journey with my friends through focus and financial seeds that were owed to me and his constant encouraging. I came back literally 1 month later, just 1 month, with multiple line items paid off. Stacks is truly an incredible steward of not just his own finances, but his clients, you know what I mean? And really helping us to make an impact, not just for our lives, but for generations to come. And so I would tell everybody needs a Stack in their life, okay? Because he truly cares about you. He cares about seeing your family financially free, but also not just stopping there, but taking you to the next level and investing in so much more. And so, Stacks, thank you, because my life has forever been changed, and I know generations to come will be blessed that this moment I made the decision to join this journey with my friends.
Hey everybody, my name is Travis Nolan, and if you're watching this video, then you know our mutual friend Steven Stack. My wife and I have been clients of Steven's for about 5 months, and in those 5 months, the stuff that he has taught us has been amazing. It's literally done nothing short of changed everything with how my family approaches money, approaches saving, diversification across Roths and stocks and bonds and ETFs and all of that good stuff. But that's all technical stuff. At the end of the day, here's what I love about Steven. He's very, very knowledgeable about what he's talking about, and you get to see it in real time. I mean, literally, as soon as you get off the phone with him or the call, the next day you can put those things into action. He is fantastic. So trust me, he absolutely has my endorsement, and you cannot go wrong going with him.
Hold on. Steven.
Hey, what's going on?
I'm good, man. How you doing?
I'm doing great. I had to work through some technical difficulties because my laptop wasn't working, so I'm just doing it from my phone.
Oh, that's fine. We've had that done before.
Nice.
Yeah, you know how technology is. You know,
of course.
1 minute is good, next minute you be like, okay, what happened?
Right.
Yeah.
Man, but great to see you.
Great to see you too. And every time, let me say this, every time I come to Charlotte, right, you live right around the corner from my wife's cousin, Felicia.
Yeah.
Right. And she wasn't there at the time. I think she went to get her hair done and her nails done. I don't know. I gave you the address. I said, man, I'm in Charlotte. You like, where at, man? I gave you the address. Man, you right down the street, man. And you came with the kids and everything, man. That was a few years ago, man. We jumped out the car with the kids, Yeah, I just can't hesitate, man, because when I hit Charlotte to reach out to you, I mean, for years, and
absolutely,
yeah. And Steven and I go way back because we are King brothers,
right?
Yeah, and Steven does this whole financial thing at every summit.
Yeah,
right?
That's right.
Every summit he's there, and he's helping guys get through their financial situations and stuff like that. Man, I just love your energy, right? And man, I'm glad to be a brother with you and King. You see, I see Pastor Marvin Graham right there.
Hey, what up?
He said he was going to be on live tonight. He said, I got to see my man Stack. You know?
Right. Yeah, he'll regularly text me. I always make sure to respond. Good brother.
Yeah, definitely, man. So welcome to the Blueprint. I've been doing this for a little while, and man, finally got you on.
Right.
Yeah, I've been thinking about you for a minute there, you know, and it's great timing because we started out the new year.
Right.
We had Janan Wong, and she's a professional health coach, right?
Okay.
And so we wanted to start the year off, you know, because many people are fasting, Daniel fasting. Many people are making resolutions. You know, is a good way to get off. You know, last week we were talking about healthy lifestyles, right? And you know, getting away, you know, things that impact us physically and also mentally.
Right.
And you know, we talked about the importance of being active, the importance of getting rest, you know, all those kinds of things like that. And so it was a great way last week to kind of do that and then segue into some of most people's heartaches besides our health is our finances. Right.
Right about that.
Yeah, and our finances impact our health.
Yes, they do.
They do. It's,
They do.
and so I thought of you. I was like, man, my wife was talking about it. I said, man, we got to get somebody on here talk about some finances as we go into the new year. And here you are. Thank God.
Yeah. No, it's great to be here. Thank you for having me.
Oh yeah, man, it's my pleasure. And you know, before we get going here, and talk about some financial things, man, we want to talk a little bit about, because you know, about three things. I think I sent you three things we always focus on the Blueprint podcast. Of course, you know, we're talking about the lifestyle, 7 spheres of influence. We're talking about the importance of the spiritual life, you know, that sphere of spirit, and then how God blesses us with our gifts to go into other spheres of influence, right? And most of the people I have on is in one of the 7 spheres of influence, whether it's business, finances, whether it's political, government, whether it's education or health, right? Family, right? We all find ourselves in some sphere of influence, right? And you have to have it be in the sphere of business and finance, but three things we kind of focus on is the importance of family, right? The importance of faith, right? And the importance of education. So talk about growing up, man. We want to get to know a little bit about Steve. Growing up, mom and dad, siblings. Talk about that and how that experience shaped who you are now.
Yeah. So I give some context of my parents are older in age relative to my age. So like my dad was almost 40 when I was born. Oh, look at y'all. Y'all got a picture. Look at that. I like it. We official. So yeah, my folks, they were older when I was born. So my dad was almost 40 when I was born. So there's a little bit of like an old soul kind of feel to me. And for them, my dad was number 10 out of 12 kids. My mom was number 12 out of 12 kids. So like literally my grandpa, my mom's side, was born in the 1800s.
Dang.
Yeah. It's crazy. Like he slid right in there. It's 1897. So I want to give that context because I feel that I had a big advantage on most people of having such a connection to history and to the past, from my parents being older and then their parents being older, of just an understanding of life principles. Things take time. Like both of my parents grew up on farms. So just that take your time, eventually it's going to get there, slow and steady wins the race. You know what I mean? Like all of those types of things of where typically people around my age wouldn't have that context. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I understand.
So also, you guys brought up that beautiful picture of my parents. They've been married for over 50 years. It'll be 55 years next month. Oh, y'all got all the pictures. Oh my goodness. So for those who are watching the live broadcast, that's my parents and my brother, as well as myself. I got an opportunity to do a multi-part financial literacy series for Clemson University for the football team, like the entire football team, because they have now name, image, and likeness money that players get.
Yeah.
So, now players are actually getting meaningful money. And so just trying to give building blocks on, okay, how to manage that even now while you're in college, and how this can affect you for the rest of your life. If you do end up having a family, how it impacts your future family. So yeah, but going back to just the family kind of rooting upbringing of grew up in the church. And one thing I just want to give a huge shout out to my parents about is there was no difference between Sundays for them and Monday through Saturday. So how they showed up in church service was how they lived out their lives on the rest of the days of the week, which was very impactful for me to see that they taught me about generosity at an early age. So when I was getting my first bits of money at 4 years old, sweeping the floors in my dad's business that he had, he'd give me a little bit of money, and I would take a tenth of what I had, and I would give it to the church that we were attending, and then kind of figure out, okay, what may I want to buy? It might be like some candy or some treats or something. And then saving up for like something big, you know what I mean? Like maybe actually paying for a movie ticket or something. So,
I like that. Yeah. And I mean, I think my grandmother, one of the things, and I don't know if she said it this way, but I used to go visit her often in North Carolina. She was in Plymouth, North Carolina, my grandfather, because I was born in Plymouth, North Carolina. And
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and so she used to talk about the immediate gratification process and versus the delayed gratification process. Most people back then saved for what they wanted, Right. And my grandmother always, every other year or so, she always got a new car. I was like, well, how did my grandmother, get a new car, and
she was spinning that thing.
Yeah, and they was very, very progressive because, we went from the outhouse to the bathroom in the house.
Yeah, that's big time.
Yeah, that's big time. And then, then add in another room, right?
Oh.
I was just telling my nephew the other day, I said, yeah, we used to go down North Carolina. My mother used to drop us off there, man, 4th of July. And don't come back. You don't come back home until it's time to go to school, right? And we were talking about being dark, going back. You come back 45 shades darker, It's like, where y'all been at? Because there's no air conditioning, right? And you got the giant metal fan with no backing to it. You can cut your fingers off. I mean, like, it's crazy, right? And then my grandmother was one of the first persons, right, in whole Plymouth to get central air.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, when she got central air, we was like, what? Let's go to mother's house,
Man, y'all was rich.
That's funny.
Oh, yeah, they were progressive, but, they used to always talk. He worked at the pup mill where they did the paper.
Yep.
Yeah, it didn't smell too well over in that area, but...
Nah.
And then she worked cleaning up, or keeping, people, but they saved. You know,
Yeah.
they saved, and it was powerful. So,
Yeah.
and yeah, so you now, you know, from your mom and dad and, you know, siblings, now you have your own family, right? And you know, so you, of course, you got your wife. So talk about your wife a little bit. You got to talk about your wife now. Can't get no kids without the wife, you know.
Yeah, that's true.
You can, but
You can, but
I'm about to say, come on, fellas, y'all done been
Hold
to class 101 now. Don't make me have to come on y'all. You know.
See, I don't know what kind of podcast y'all trying to do. Oh my goodness.
it's just keeping it real.
Right. I'm just like, God help me. Oh my goodness. Um, I think the big thing, and so I talked to a lot of younger brothers about this idea of, you may think you really want to sow your wild oats while you're young, you know what I mean? Like just testing as much, this is a family program, so
Yeah, but
sampling as much
we
milk
real.
as possible. Right. I'm just, we doing it live, so sampling as much milk as possible before you buy an actual cow. Um, I don't actually believe that's what we really want, even though that's what we're being sold. And I think there's incredible value to young men to understand who you are, understand where you are and where you want to be headed, and being able to stabilize with a singular woman can help tremendously on getting to where you're headed and doing the purpose work that I believe that God has put you here to be able to do. And so like so I'm gonna just try to give some stuff, right? I'm gonna try to give some stuff. So like just from a super simple practical perspective of, if you've got your lady already, you may not have to get a haircut every week. You know what I mean? Like you may not always got to have the super finest threads that you wear and always got to step outside and impress. You can actually be inside and do some Netflix and chilling with your boo. And if you do have a good woman that's just holding you down, that you're not worried about her whereabouts and what she's doing and what she's about, it helps you to actually focus on the stuff in front of you and being able to build out a healthy family.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah. I don't know if you talked about your wife, but you gave us a concept.
Well, see what happened.
No.
We just
you better talk about that, Queen.
right. See, we got kind of sidetracked.
Yeah.
But you know what? I mean, the things I would say about her, she loves God. She loves people. She's always been trustworthy around like the resources for the family. And I know that is not a given to find that. And there's many other things I could say that I'm appreciative of, but just again, I'm just trying to speak on a basic level of just what are benefits that come from finding someone worthwhile to build with and build a life with.
Well, we got a bunch of pictures here. I mean, you said a few things, but yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, we've done a good bit of travel over the years, and been able to do a lot of cool stuff together. Um, so yeah, yeah, that was out of the country for that shot.
Yeah.
Y'all are cute together.
Thank you. I
He
Oh
appreciate
man.
probably said, "Did y'all get permission to put my picture up on some
it. I mean,
stream
see,
yard? Like, who gave them permission to put my picture up there?"
see,
Hey.
all I know, I did not green light any of the stuff. They did this all on their own. I vetted nothing. So if it's not pictures that are liked by her, it is Lowe's and his bride's fault. 100%.
And
You guys, y'all
I'm
hear
not gonna
me?
do. I'm not gonna do sister girl like that. She looked good in every one of those pictures.
Right. See, that sounds like an admission of guilt. That was you, not me.
Oh man. And, yeah, before we go on to, talking a little bit about your family, man, let me digress for a second and go back. Cause
Sure.
we're gonna talk about finance, but talk about, the education side of it, coming out of, growing up, coming out of high school, and
Mm-hmm.
this is where you intended to be. I mean, in terms of the financial part, or was it something else before then?
So I always had a passion around finance. I didn't know that I would end up here. So my pathway was I was always good with numbers. And even at a young age, I had a mentality that just said, I want to find a high probability path towards success. And so the thought process was, okay, what are different potential trades or industries that I can get into that would capitalize off of my natural gifts and God-given, intellect and understanding. Um, and so I knew about engineering. I knew that there were people that were engineers that were well respected. It's good work, plenty of work that one could do in that arena. So I actually ended up going to college to study engineering, and that set me on a path of saying, okay, no disrespect. Like if somebody works, like so say in social work, there's a lot of meaningful, needed professions but they may not pay that much. Like I love so many of the teachers that have poured into my life throughout my life. Unfortunately, they don't get compensated as much as I believe the value is that they bring to society. Um, so I went into engineering, and and the big thing for people who are listening is throughout my 20s, I made a commitment to say I leveraged my education to get into a meaningful paying profession. But then throughout my 20s, I invested 50 cents at least 50 cents out of every dollar I earned. And so for me, it wasn't enough just to get educated. It was okay, let me use that education to put me in a profession that I can earn meaningful dollars. And then when I earn meaningful dollars, then it's like, okay, I got to actually invest the money. Because one thing that you said, Lowe's, and I want to make sure to call this out, is the generations before were big on saving money, which is great. I'm all for saving money. What we really needed to shift to, and I think a lot of us are doing it now, is it's not enough to just save. You gotta invest money so that it can grow and outpace this pesky thing called inflation. So being able to kind of connect all the dots together of it's not education just for education's sake, even though I'm a lifelong learner. And then it's not just earn income just to earn it. it's also okay. Now I need to invest it to let it grow so that the money is working just as hard as I am, if not harder.
I like that. Yeah. So okay, let's go back to family now.
Right.
We're gonna go back. We're gonna go back to family because you got a family now.
Yes.
Yeah, and so talk a little bit about being dad. You talk about being a husband, but now you're a father, right?
Yes.
So talk about that experience that we both love. We both love family. We both love family.
Right. So from a family perspective, the big thing for me is, so like sometimes you'll hear people talking about passing an inheritance, or even if you get in scripture, it's saying a good man leaves an inheritance for his children's children. I think it's too short-sighted to think an inheritance is only financial. So part of being a father or doing parenting is this idea of, if you leave kids a bunch of money without the character to be able to sustain it and manage it well, you're not only doing a disservice, you potentially are actually leaving them with a curse. Because now you're giving them more resources to destroy themselves and others with, if they don't have an understanding of how to manage it well and just care for others. So that's a big thing for me, is just having conversations around life and being diligent, what it looks like for your yes to be yes, your no to be no. So one thing they know about me is I'm slow to say yes on certain things.
Sound like a man thing to me.
Right. And now part of the reason why is because, so a lot of times we'll see, maybe, let me think about it, I'll consider it, a lot of different variations of that. But the reason why is because if I say yes, it's written in stone. You can take it to the bank. So one thing about me, you're never going to hear me say, oh, put that on everything I love. Put that on my great grandmama's grave. Put this on this person, that person. I promise to God, I swear to God. All this, you know what I mean? Like all these histrionics. It's just a simple, Lowe's, you reached out to me. Hey man, I'd love to have you on the podcast in January. And I said, hold, let me see. When do you need to have an answer by? And then when I said yes, you knew I was going to be on. You know what time I was going to be on. And I made sure that it happened.
That's right. Yeah, I like that.
So that's important for everyone, but trying to instill that into children at an early age, to just say, you want to be the kind of person where if you say something, it's rock solid. Now, and if it doesn't happen, it's either something beyond your control, or you're human, you may have forgotten, and you just apologize, own it, and say, okay, let me get to it.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah. And you probably wasn't on earlier, because earlier, my first 30 minutes, I was into my person of the week. I celebrated my mother's yesterday. My mother's 85th birthday.
Nice.
Yeah, so
nice.
And
Happy birthday.
It was a continuous, from yesterday. Don't surprise me. I don't want nobody doing nothing special. Don't give me no gift. That whole thing. And then of course we ignored all that, and we it ended the day with a brunch.
Yeah.
With all these people there. She's looking around like, where are these people coming from? But so we're talking about that, and then talking about my person to always have a person of the week was Jimmy Carter, President Jimmy Carter.
Yeah.
Talking about his humanity, and people don't like a human president. When he was president, they wanted a politician. He was a human. All right. So, talking about him being my person of the week, and my book of the week was, of course, your book.
Oh, thank you.
You was talking to, talking to your daughter, talking to your 8-year-old daughter, right?
Yep.
Simple money talk, conversation with my 8-year-old daughter.
Right.
So as we enter into this phase of finances, right? Talk a little bit about what you taught, because I think this is so important, right? Because we talk to our kids about being great, being great, going to school, getting an education, so forth and so on. Right. One of the things that we don't necessarily do is to talk about, how we actually, how do we build wealth? We don't talk about it. Most of us, when we graduate high school, right, we don't know how to balance a checkbook, right? We have no idea what credit is, right? And so we get to college, and man, all of a sudden these credit cards started coming and all these different things, right? And then when you have families, right, we're not even thinking about like how do we prepare for them to go to college,
right?
So all these things. So talk about your book and the conversation that most parents should be having with their children.
Yeah. So what happened? And now she's not 8 anymore. She's actually about to turn 13.
Father's gonna be woo. You got the binoculars on. Where is she?
Yeah, many conversations. But so what gave me the idea is I would regularly have conversations with her just about everything, life, faith, and we talk about, money stuff too, just at the level of what her understanding was at the time. And I think a big thing for me is with kids, I'm going to talk normal to them, like kind of like an adult, but always invite them to ask questions if they don't understand, and I'll pull it down, but I always want them to aspire upwards towards more curiosity, wisdom, knowledge, understanding. So what gave me the idea for the book is she and I were playing Monopoly, and I actually detailed this exchange in the book, because there's a few different stories that I just kind of walk through in the book, and then just give what are the takeaways that are important for life. So it's not just for kids. Like, I'm using my conversations with my daughter to actually explain very adult, grown concepts, but putting it in a way that's not intimidating. Because a lot of times money can be intimidating. Like even if you've been doing it for decades, it still can be scary sometimes. So we're playing Monopoly, and she's just roasting me. Like, oh man, I got so much money. Dad, you broke. You know what I mean? Like, man, I'm killing it, because I did look broke because I was just buying properties. You know what I mean? So I ain't have a lot of cash. She had a lot more cash than I did. And then all of a sudden, she started landing on those properties that I owned, that I had bought in the game. And at first, it was kind of like, no big deal. Here's your money. Then she landed on that boardwalk. And I know y'all can see my face. And literally, I saw, because this is fake Monopoly money, but you got to think, if you're talking to an 8-year-old, it might as well be the real deal legal tender.
Right.
So she lands on the boardwalk, and like I could see the stress in her face, and just like, like she just kind of let out an exhale, like, man, I don't know how I'm gonna keep coming up with this money. And it was like in that instant, I was like, man, she's 8 years old, but she already understands the stress of someone that's 48 years old dealing with a similar type of scenario. And so we finished the game, and I just started talking to her about this idea of what are assets versus what are liabilities, but tried to bring it down to the level of what her understanding was. And just said, let me just start writing down some of the conversations that we actually do have, and try to give ideas for folks, whether because you don't have to be a parent. Like you might be an aunt, you might be an uncle, you might, obviously, even if you don't have like super young people, like you could be a grandparent, you could be a godparent, where you just got people in your life, you got siblings, cousins. Maybe you're trying to help people with money that are older than you. You might be trying to help your parents sort through learning some new things. But what I tried to do is just give some real life thoughts and ideas of how to make money not look so scary to discuss, and for parents that have, especially younger kids, being intentional about what you do with them. That their only exposure to money shouldn't just be you spending, just watching you buy. Be intentional. Take them to the bank. I know you can deposit a check on like a mobile app, but I'm like, it's worth it to take the extra time to say, hey, let's go to a physical bank, go inside and do a transaction with the bank teller and let them see you put money in. You know what I mean? So that it's like, hey, not everything is spend, spend, spend. Sometimes we're also saving, or you can try to find creative ways to think through investing. You know what I mean? Like there's devices that they use or things that they enjoy with life, and be like, hey, there's actually a company that produces this, and just starting to have those type of conversations. So that's some of what was happening in the book.
Yeah, so I recommend that if you got young kids, you get the book. Yeah. And then, as we talk about going into 2025, I think you had made a statement, or I seen it. You were talking about like one of your goals was to be a millionaire by 30, I guess 30 or 31, whatever it was, and, for people who are thinking like that, what is it to be wealthy, and how do we, because we're talking about wealth is also in what I talked about last week with Miss Wong, right? Health, mental health, physical health, that's
Right.
important. Hopefully next week we'll talk about spiritual. It could be
Yeah, that'd be
holistic,
Yes.
but right now we're talking about finances,
Yeah.
right? And how, as we enter this 2025 and we make these resolutions, we make these goals, right? And a couple of things we want to be able to do is be debt free, right? And we want to figure out how do we build wealth, and then
Right.
how do we leave that legacy.
Right. So the first things that I would tell people is you have to understand that investing is a necessity. Like it's not a nice to have, it's a must. Like you have to put funds away for the future. The way to think about it is, what kind of farmer would you be if you never actually plant seed? Like it's not enough to just save the seed. You've also got to put it in the ground. And you don't know which seeds are going to germinate and sprout up. But all you really need to know is typically one seed produces several fruit, vegetables, whatever the thing is that you plant. It not only produces more of the thing that it came from. So let's just say it's apple seed. It produces tons of apples that have multiple seeds inside them. So investing is exponential, but it's something you must do. And I would tell folks, start with whatever you have. So don't think that, oh, well, I got to wait until I can invest $2,000 a month before I start. Man, if you start with $25 a month, start there. Like, I want you to start working those investment muscles. And because once you start, then as you start to have more disposable income, you can do more. You can actually add more to what you're putting aside, of setting goals that way. And for me, to be clear, just for those that are listening, yes, I ended up becoming a millionaire at age 31. But really, my goal was I wanted to be, quote unquote, retireable by age 45, which I'll define what that means. For me, it just meant I wanted to have enough investments put aside that I had flexibility in whatever work I chose to do. That I didn't have to work in a particular industry or a particular job, that the amount of income generated from whatever work, employment, business, whatever that I did, that it wasn't hinged on just what I made from doing it, but that I could say, hey, if I want to work in a local rec center, which doesn't necessarily pay a lot, but if that's what I'm passionate about doing at that time, that I'm in a position to be able to do that. And I'll give this one last thought real quick here, is I'm of the belief that work is not inherently bad. So one thing that you'll hear on social media, internet all the time is, oh man, you got to retire, man, just quit that job, or da 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 da, all this kind of stuff, and trying to make it seem like just work in and of itself is bad and you should just lay on beaches and go golfing or just travel all these different places. But for those that are people of faith, Adam was given a job before the fall.
Mm-hmm.
So work is not actually bad. There's purpose in work. There's beauty in being productive. And also there's a gift in not being idle and keeping you out of stuff you maybe don't have any business being into as well. So there's a lot of benefits that come from doing work. But again, the wealth side of things for me was figure out where you're at and find tangible goals that you can reach towards. Like, okay, can I max out a tax advantage retirement account? Or if I don't have enough money to max it all the way, what's a number that I can push towards that's more than what I'm doing now? You know what I mean? I'm just trying to give people, I don't want folks to be in a space where they feel like, oh my gosh, I'm hearing from a guy that's a millionaire. $1 million is such a far away number, but I ain't start at $1 million. You know what I mean? Like, I literally started at zero at one point and was just putting it away steady over time. Maybe it was $100 here, a couple $100 there. And then eventually the amounts did get bigger, but the process, that was really in my opinion, that's where a lot of the wealth came from, is who I was becoming as I was doing it.
Yeah. And so when as people are entering 2025, I'm sure that there's my word of the week was debt, right? And I had the letters are falling off the mountain. And at the bottom of it said free.
I like that.
Right. So
I like that.
They like that.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, and so I was, thinking that, that's kind of where when we're talking about at the end of a year, right? I think now is a self-reflection.
Yes. Yes.
right? You know, in the beginning of the year, where am I? You know, what I in business as the executive director of the Boys and Girls Club, we, you know, towards the end of the year, you evaluate, right,
Right.
and look at all the goals you made from the beginning of the year and ask yourself if you accomplished it. You
Mm.
know, what did I accomplish? What do I need to continue to work on? So forth and so on. So
Right.
now,
Right.
now I'm going into the new year. You know, I had completed some things. Now I want to go. And some of those things I need to grow on. You just don't
Right.
say I'm stopping, but I need to get better at this.
Right.
So,
Right.
you know, what are the goals? When I make a goal to say I'm going to be debt free, right? And then now I'm going through process or
Right.
application, right? And at the end of the year, you know, when the end of the year come, people say, "Oh, I was just so miserable, man." You know, man, I can't wait till the new year come because you haven't really, you know, because Scripture says, a people without a vision will perish, right? A people without a plan. It
Right.
says,
Right.
write the vision,
Make it plain.
make it plain, line upon line, precept upon precept. So, you know, at the beginning of the year, we making this vision, you
Mm-hmm.
know, and at the end of the year, we evaluating,
Right.
right? Because we made a goal. You
Right.
know, and we want to end up somewhere at the end of the year, right? That we can be happy with,
Yeah.
you know. So when you
Yeah.
say debt free, you know, what's the process of becoming debt free and moving in from survival, right? From survival mode, right? We got to get out of
Thriving.
survival. Yeah,
Right.
to thriving, from
Right.
surviving to thriving.
So, for those who are listening, if you're sorting through debt in 2025, first off, know that your money situation does not define you. So, I'm going to get to some point by point things on it, but it's very important that folks understand that your net worth does not equate to your self worth, because there's so much shame involved in debt that can keep people in a spiral. And so I'm gonna give kind of a thought, and this will cover all people, no matter where you are at. I'm just going to give a one-liner here that says, "Don't let success go to your head or failure go to your heart." And I'll say it one more time. Do not let success go to your head or failure go to your heart. So when you start talking around trying to knock out debt, that can be more on the quote unquote failure side going to your heart. So you want to just be clear on what it means about you. It does not mean that you are an inherently bad person. Maybe you made some not so great decisions, but that's okay. So I want to get the mindset part clear. But now, as far as like just some things to knock out. So first off, if you have any high interest debt, so we'll just say double digit interest debt, that's where you need to focus out of the gate. Of if you can do minimum payments for everything else and try to funnel as much extra dollars towards the high interest debt items, that would be where I would start, to try to start chopping them out. There's a bunch of different methods for it. You got like the debt snowball method or the avalanche method, or you can do a mixture of the two. The snowball is where you're saying you pay minimum payments on everything except whatever your smallest debt is, and put all of your extra dollars that you can spare towards the smallest debt first and minimums on everything else until you finish out that smallest debt. And then you move to the newest, or the next smallest one, and do the same thing, minimums for everything else, and focus in on that smallest one and just try to chop it away until you're down to whatever the final one is. And now you're pushing everything towards knocking that out. The avalanche method is different, of that you're prioritizing by whatever the interest rate is. So whichever interest rate on the debt is the highest is where you're pushing the most money, and then you're doing minimums for everything else. When that's done, you go to the next highest interest rate, and wash, rinse, repeat until you get to the final one. So that's a plan around trying to sort through knocking out debt. And yeah, you can have an annual goal, but I also want to strongly encourage having quarterly goals as well. Because like you think about the world's biggest companies, they have quarterly earnings. Like they talk about what has happened in the last 3 months, not just their goals for the year, because then you get an opportunity to see what's happened, see what's working, reassess if you need to tweak some things, you're able to do so. Because believe it or not, a year actually is a long time when you're talking about attacking a goal.
That's right. So
And
you're
now,
talking about short-term,
Yes.
medium, short-term
Yes.
goals, medium-range goals, and long-range
Right.
goals.
Right. Because the way to break it down is you want to try to figure out what you're trying to do in a given month, like within roughly 30 days, then what you're trying to do in 90, which is roughly a quarter, and then you have the whole 365, which is the whole year. But that helps you to stay on the path towards your goal of, like, imagine you're trying to drive somewhere and you don't have a map, you don't have a GPS, which is really important in helping you stay on track to get to your final destination. That's what these short, midterm, and kind of long-term goal setting, that's what it does. So, and honestly, that's what I do. Like, if I'm working with clients, like, I'm trying to help people establish what that looks like. What are the things they need to be thinking about specific to their setup, their goals, their sensibilities, so on and so forth. And then saying, okay, now we got to do the work.
Yeah, I like that. And so if there's I think you got a website.
I do.
Yeah, so I think if people want to, get in contact with you, if they want to get in contact with you and get your website so they can, and if there's any questions out there, remember it's interactive. So if you have any questions out there, I mean, shoot them now. We only got so much time left. But
We're having too much fun.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the way it works.
Right. It went really fast. Jeez.
Yeah, no, it goes like lightning. I tell everybody, like, they say hour and a half. I say, yeah, you blink your eye and it's gone.
Right. Nah, it's good though. It's good. Yeah.
Well,
I'll tell the website, and if we don't have any questions, I can try to answer just frequently asked questions that I've heard over the years.
Okay.
But the site is just StephenLStack.com. So Stephen with a V, L, and then Stack, STACK.com. Really simple, and really responsive. Like, people are filling out the contact form, like it goes straight through. And very responsive and getting back to people.
Okay.
So.
Yeah. So talk a little bit about the most frequently asked questions, real quick here. Yeah.
So typically, I'll get questions around just, hey, where do I start? Like, okay, the passion's there, or the zeal is there to want to do better financially, and what I would say is, if you're just looking at your general setup, if you do have high interest debt, then as far as trying to pay stuff down, that is where I would start. So when I say high interest debt, think like credit card debt, which can be 20-30% interest. Mm-hmm. So I would want to start there. If someone's saying, hey, where do I potentially start from an investing standpoint, I would say, number one, look and see, if you have an employer, do they have some kind of employer sponsored plan where they have a match towards a 401k or 403b, TSP, 457, so on and so forth, of whatever the plan is. And my first goal would be, if they do have a match, do everything you do to try to get the maximum match. So if they offer it and say your place of employment offers a up to 5% match, what that would mean is if you put in 5% towards that 401k or 403b, et cetera, that your company will kick in an additional 5%. So just to do the math, so say if you make $50,000 a year, what it's saying is if you put $2,500 across the year into that account, your employer will kick in another $2,500 to where now you've got a total of $5,000 in that year that went towards your retirement. So that high interest debt, and if there's an employer sponsored plan where they have a match, those would be the first two places that I would go, whether it's debt or investing. And then now the other thing, I'm gonna just throw this out there. I'm gonna just throw it out there.
Okay.
Is because it's often overlooked. Take the time to properly designate beneficiaries on any accounts you have that have money in it. Because all of us have an appointment that's scheduled for us that we will not be able to skip, but we don't know when it is. And talking about meeting your maker. So because we don't know when it is, it's important to just have your ducks in a row ahead of time so that you got the right person in, of whoever you want it to be. So you got a spouse, I'm going to assume that that's who you want to lead the money to. You know what I mean? No judgment if that's not what it is. No judgment. But at least you know what you're doing.
I was totally getting ready to come for you right there, just at that moment. I was, but I'm gonna talk to your wife about that.
No judgment. No judgment.
You woke her up right there.
Like I said, you do what you want to do. That's on you, not me. But what you don't want to do is leave it blank. You know what I mean? So like even if you aren't married, never been married, maybe have no children, you still worked hard for it. And there may be people in your family, there may be, a friend that feels like family that you say, hey, I want to designate this for this individual or these individuals in the event, that something happens to me. And obviously, I think it's very important that you let that person know that it's there. That, that's part of this idea around, estate planning, is at least the beginnings of it is just letting folks know. But I know that's a pretty often overlooked thing that people don't necessarily think about.
Yeah, definitely.
What are your thoughts about like accelerated payments on things like mortgages, car notes, things like that, like paying down principal, which would impact, of course, the the interest somewhere down the line, because if you're paying down principal, like, what are your thoughts about that?
So I'll try to be brief here in answering the question and being mindful of the time, but we didn't talk about this. I'm very thankful to say I'm 100% debt free. That actually includes my home. It's been paid off for now at this point going towards a decade. So I have very much real experience in what was just asked on the question of, paying down a, multi 6-figure mortgage or like obviously vehicles, things like that. I would say if you have high interest debt, you still need to prioritize that first. But assuming that that's not on the table, and let's say, student loans done, you don't have any student loans, it's just car and a home, I would probably say focus on the vehicle first. If you're doing extra, and now this is assuming that you're investing money too, because that's very important in my opinion. Because I'm speaking to a wide variety of people where I don't know everybody's specific situation, but that would be what I would say is doing that, and let the home be the last thing, because typically the interest rate for the home is going to be the lowest of the whole crew. And you don't have to be like super about knocking out the home. Like maybe what you look at with that is you're trying to time it up to where you're done with it maybe a little before retirement, or right at when you retire. Maybe it's a little after you retire that it's already paid off, because then that's typically people's biggest monthly expense is paying for, mortgage / rent. So anything around lodging. So that's typically what I would say around something like that. And obviously, if you want to be a crazy person like me and knock it out when you're still pretty young, you can do that too. But I will say for me, had already amassed quite a bit of assets before getting aggressive around paying the house off. And it was just something I personally wanted to do.
Okay, understood.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, we definitely have, Steven's website right there, because you might be looking for a coach, a financial coach. You might have some questions. I vouch for him. Right. And
you know what I learned new today?
What?
I mean, this is
What'd
crazy.
you learn?
I learned new today what NIL stood for.
Oh
NIL?
yeah, name, image, and likeness. Yep.
Name, image, and likeness.
Yeah, I didn't know. I just they're so used to just saying NIL. So when he said name, image, and likeness, I went NIL. Oh, that's what it
means.
Yeah, man. And I'm like a little bit before my time, man, because
Oh man, you should have raked up.
Yeah, these guys are getting my money, man.
Right. See the people don't know that on this thread, Lowe's was a problem on that basketball court. See, don't let that humble demeanor fool you. He was a bad man.
Yeah, man. I'm always missing it. I'm like when in my senior year, man, we just got carpet on the floor in the locker room. And we had the little gates and the little wooden box that you put your stuff in and lock up with a lock. Now they got recliners, snack bars, all kind of stuff.
Right.
Man. I walk in the locker room.
TVs.
I walk in the locker room and said, man, when I go down there to visit, and they got now the whole practice facility with their lockers and all that kind of stuff. I said, say thank you to me. I'm not getting any of this.
But, Right. No, they got it incredibly good now, man. I've seen it, man. It's crazy.
Yeah. And, here's my curiosity question here. You got the whole Clemson thing up there. Man, what's Clemson, man?
Come on, man. We had such a good chat. I don't know what you're trying to do with me, Lo. You know what I mean?
No, I see you with the Clemson stuff on.
Right. Yeah, I'm an alum, man. That's where I went to school.
Okay.
So yeah. So Clemson University, Clemson Tigers. That's my alma mater. I'm really thankful, really blessed that I get opportunity to come back regularly, and they do a good job with the program and just treating folks from yesteryear like family. So I very much appreciate that, and obviously I'm still connected with the football program, which we did make the college football playoff.
Yes, you
this season. We got in there.
Yeah, you got
just in case the people were wondering. We did.
Yeah, West Virginia didn't, but we went to a bowl. I guess that's what it is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Which bowl?
Wait, no.
They just be making up bowls.
Was it
the dream? I have a dream bowl.
Right. Y'all went to to the Pop-Tart bowl, the Cheez-It bowl.
Yeah, one of them, the Fiesta Bowl.
Okay.
Yeah, you get some chips and dips, you know.
Right. Oh my
But
goodness. Yeah.
let me say this in closing is that
Okay.
Stephen is very much a man of faith, right? And I think we got some pictures up there, man. Him praying.
My man Fern and pass the CD, pass the
Hey,
time.
what's up with the singing, man? I'm seeing all these pictures, man, where you praising, worshiping in there, man. I mean,
you know, I can noodle a little bit, you know.
Oh,
I do what I can.
No, that's nice. and then, of course, I think my wife showed some things on the King movement, man. I'm gearing up for the summit. It's gonna be in D.C. this year.
Let's go.
When
That's
is it?
right.
March.
It's in March.
Yeah, I think is it the 13th or 16th, something like that.
Show the. I got a couple announcements up here. I'll show it to you right now.
Okay.
Back up to the top here.
This one.
Now that's the one coming up.
Yeah,
The
that's in
Heart
New
of
Orleans.
Champions. That's in New Orleans.
Yep.
Thursday, February the 6th. Chris Number is going to be out there. And then here's the National Summit is going to be March 13th to the 16th.
Yes, sir.
Right? And there go all the speakers and stuff like that. Michael T is going to be back again. He was just in the picture. Allen Houston's going to be there.
Yeah.
I mean, hey,
Dog.
Troy Vincent is always going to be there. He's the
Yep.
vice president of the NFL. He's going to be there. You
Yep.
know, I met him a couple. And my man, Lawrence Thunderberg is going to be there, man.
Yeah.
He's awesome, man.
Yeah, he did really well.
Yeah, he was on the podcast, man. He was
he was on. Oh, I know
he
he's
was
fired up.
yeah. Yeah,
Man.
my man, bright, intelligent.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. Just
And intense, but I love that though.
yeah,
love
I
his
it
passion.
too. Yeah, I love his passion.
So listen,
too.
we'll be in Charlotte in July.
Hey, let's go.
Yeah, my son. I don't know if you've seen the we were showing earlier. He's in the cast of "Ain't Too Proud to Beg," the national tour.
Oh,
He's playing Eddie Kendricks.
Okay.
In the Life and Times of the Temptation.
Let's
right.
go.
He just left South Carolina, Columbia. Right.
Oh,
He's in
okay.
Athens, Georgia, and then
All right.
in July he's going to be in Charlotte.
Let's go.
I think my wife already
69 tickets.
69 tickets already.
What?
Just a few.
Just a few.
Oh man, man, here we go.
Because she got family down there and I got family down there. So
Oh yeah.
So they're gonna be down there. I always say, don't wait till the last minute to get your tickets.
Right.
They go fast. Yeah.
Man, that's awesome.
They're in Columbia. They literally sold out
Columbia every night.
ticket.
Wow.
Yeah, so
That's incredible. I know you guys are proud. That's awesome.
oh yeah.
Just a little.
Just a little bit.
Yeah. Just 69 tickets, bro.
Yeah. And I just tell my family, man, you got to get the tickets 3 months ahead of time, man. They wait till the last minute. Now they ain't sitting nowhere near each other. They in nosebleeds.
Oh, jeez. Exactly.
Gotta
love them though. You gotta love them.
Gotta love them. And Stacks, I want to thank you, man. For coming on, man, and sharing your wisdom with us, man. I mean, you and God's wisdom, man, on finances and stuff like that. If you're out there, man, make sure you'll get his information is there. We've been showing it to you, right? As you talk about 2025, is two people. Janan Wang, she has her own coaching service for health, right? I mean, at least tap into her her Instagram, man, where she's showing you all these different dishes and stuff like that. Man, I done tapped into, to Stack. He's on Instagram and everything. He's always saying some wise stuff, right? You know what I like? I like the one where you said, man, I appreciate that some of you guys are going in debt to get gifts.
Oh,
right?
Yeah.
He came on there, right?
Yeah.
He said, but rather them do what?
So the overarching thought is, I'm like, don't go into debt for things that don't go up in value. You know what I mean? Like that's the real thought there. And especially during the holiday season of don't go into debt for those you love. It's okay. One of the best things you can do if you're in quicksand to help someone else who's also in quicksand is get yourself out of the quicksand.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Then
You can get on stable, solid ground and throw a rope and pull them out too.
Yes.
So yeah, no, that's good.
Yeah, that's what we doing. We throwing a rope. We throwing one tonight. They help you get out that quicksand.
Right. Exactly. So we can afford to buy 69 tickets to Ain't Too Proud to Beg, you know?
Listen.
That's the way it works.
Right.
First of all, you gotta have some type of resources coming in order to do any of these things. So
That's right.
Correct.
Yeah.
I got a job.
Look at that. Right. For those who used to watch the show Martin, she not like Tommy. She actually got a job. You know?
Yeah.
Oh man.
Man, thanks a lot for taking the time out your busy schedule. Tell your wife and family we said hello, man.
For sure.
And thanks a lot for coming on. Give me 1 second. I'm about to close out here. So,
Okay,
I want to thank you guys for your support of the Blueprint Podcast each and every week. I mean, I hope you've been blessed tonight. We always say, man, when we drop that pebble in the pond, that there's going to be a ripple effect, right? It may not happen tomorrow, but somewhere down the road, man, you're going to get a benefit from this, right? You're hearing people's interviews and stories and stuff like that. They're just normal people, just like each and every one of us, right? And sometimes they give us wisdom and knowledge, man, that we can pick up, practical information that we can pick up on and that we can grow from. So I love you guys, man. Look forward to seeing you next week. I say this every week, man, if the Lord allow you to wake up tomorrow, make tomorrow your masterpiece. God bless you, and I'll see you next week.
We really hope you enjoyed this episode of Lowe's More, the Blueprint Podcast. Stay connected and follow us at our website, www.lowesmore.com. That's LOWESMOORE.com. You can also join the discussion on Twitter at Lowe's More and on Facebook at Lowe's More Jr. As always, thank you for pushing your mindset towards a better reality. This concludes the most thought-provoking portion of your day. Don't forget to like and subscribe to this podcast to stay fully up to date with everything we're up to. Until next time, be kind to yourself and each other.
What they teaching is a joke. I ain't buying it like I'm broke. Insufficient funds for insignificant.